has been restored in most parts of the country following an over 12-hour power outage that hit many counties. However, many other parts of the capital remain in darkness as the country's electricity supplier, KAA Power, worked round the clock to resolve the issue. Now, the outage attributed to a technical hitch experienced at the Turkana wind power station is a matter Energy Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir says technicians are on site working to resolve. As Chamitai Goin reports, the blackout, which affected sections of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, has led to the exits of senior KAA officials.
These were the scenes last night in most parts of the country as Kenya faced one of the longest blackouts occasioned by a technical hitch at one of its biggest suppliers, the Turkana wind power station.
Yesterday at about 9:45 in the evening, we lost one generator, Lake Turkana wind generation, which you know is 310 megawatts. It was a sudden loss, a sudden drop, and that caused an overload in the system. The system felt an overload, and we had a cascade switch off, which happened pretty fast.
And by 8 p.m. this evening, most parts of the country were still engulfed in darkness, despite constant assurance by the Energy Ministry that technicians were working round the clock to diagnose the issues and get those affected back on the power grid.
One of the power generators that we shall be brought on board as soon as possible, as soon as the grid is stable, is Ethiopia. Ethiopia gives us between 100 and 200 megawatts. So as we ramp up generation from geothermal, we're also going to add into the grid Ethiopia, which now is going to ensure that we don't load shed when we are going into the evening.
Some of the critical government installations hit by the blackout included the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, where operations were halted for some time after the backup generator failed to perform optimally.
Nothing affected the runway or the control tower, so nobody was in danger of any. Our passengers or our airlines were not in danger at all. The only danger they all faced was the problem of darkness inside the airport, of course, which is extremely embarrassing.
During an inspection of the JKIA facility, Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen noted that 2 generators purchased 2 years ago needed to be commissioned, promising to ensure no more mishaps were reported.
The acting MD, we have had a conversation. We want the person who will come in to commit to work day and night to make sure that the generators are functioning. But in the meantime, we will make sure that we direct the current existing backup generators to function well. I have also told the new MD that he must station technical staff.
One thing that we all need to appreciate that when a system is down, we need to carefully bring it down. When a system shuts down, it is for the good of the entire investment that it would rather shut down so that we identify where the problem is, as opposed to pushing the system and losing the whole system.
Though Terminal 1 remained in darkness for a portion of the night Friday, today it was a flurry of activity with passengers lining up ready to take to the skies. In what the Transport Cabinet Secretary termed as political and managerial challenges affecting the operations of the Kenya Airports Authority, which he said had demotivated staff at the government agency, leadership changes were announced.
From where we operate, we should not be giving an excuse, because we know if Kenya Power fails, there must be a generator, there must be a solar, there must be something that is making sure that we have seamless connectivity of power in such a very important installation.
Alex Gitari, the managing director, entered into a mutual agreement with the KAA board to terminate his contract in favor of Henry Ogoye, the current head of corporate planning, who takes over in acting capacity. Fred Odawo, the general manager project and engineering services, was also shown the door, and in his place, engineer Samuel Muchachi appointed. Further changes were made to 3 of the country's international airports. The JKIA airport manager Abel Gogo was moved to Mombasa. In his place, Selina Gore, previously serving in Kisumu. Peter Wafula moved from Mombasa to Kisumu to replace Gore. The new management further directed to also address issues of staff attitude and motivation to improve productivity. Acknowledging the embarrassment that accompanied the power outage that temporarily shut down operations on Terminal 1A, Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen said the changes instituted will go a long way in streamlining operations at the airport and also restoring public confidence in government installations. Chemutai Goin, Citizen TV, Nairobi.